Hey guys, welcome to Proco. My name's Stan Prokopenko. I got Cesar Santos here. Thanks for coming, man.
Pleasure, man. Happy to talk art with you, man.
Yeah. So yesterday we went to a museum and we talked about the art there. And I noticed how different we approach art. So you like
Thankfully.
Right, that's good.
Yeah.
This is a good thing because I'm very analytical. I'm like, just like, this is how you do it. This is the craftsmanship behind it. And you're very much into philosophy and thinking about stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm analytical too. I think I analyze a lot of stuff, but yeah, I keep it kind of like loose and fun. I keep it on the Cuban side.
Loose and fun, is that how Cubans do it?
Definitely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you come from the cold, I come from the heat.
I grew up in San Diego.
You're made for the cold, I'm made for
I guess I was born into the cold. But yeah, so I wanted to explore that side of it because I don't usually talk about, art philosophy and like why do we do stuff? So I wanted to explore that a little bit because I'm not comfortable with that. And you're good at it, so.
Well, it's interesting because for me it's just like a natural tendency. It's not that
exactly.
I'm going to go towards the philosophy aspect of life. I'm just being like that.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
didn't
funny
decide
that we
to
just,
do it. I never decided to be more of a scientific approach to it. That's just, my parents are both scientists, and so I kind of just think that way.
And it's great to meet you because you compensate that. Since we are different, I am glad that I meet someone that has a strong foundation with that type of attitude so that I can relate to that, and see it and say, wow, that's... because I like that too. I try to go towards that because art has to be structured at first. And if we start talking about philosophy too early in our careers, we can get lost and just spend our time just kind of talking about whatever, and we don't get anything concrete. So I'm glad that you're super concrete in that sense.
Okay. Yeah, there's definitely a balance. I mean, some people think you should start with the why, more of the philosophical approach, and then figure out how to do it. Because if you don't know why you're doing it, then how are you going to figure out how to do it?
Yeah.
But before we start getting into that, I wanted to talk about just your history, introduce people if they don't know who you are. So, you're Cesar Santos.
Yeah, well, I'm Cesar Santos. I was born in Cuba, came to America when I was 12 years old. I kind of drew when I was a little kid. My uncle gave me some drawing exercises. But I really started in a serious way developing my arts and my craft when I started attending a magnet school, high school for design.
Magnet school?
Yeah, it's a magnet school.
What's a magnet school?
A magnet school is a school that attracts talent. So they do a very strong entrance exam, and if you pass it, you get to be there. It's public, it's free, but it's selective.
Is it focused on art?
This one was focused, architecture, design, very artistic, but not singing or any other aspects. It's just more
visual
arts.
Okay.
And then from there, I got a full scholarship at the University of Florida. New World School of the Arts was part of that, and I did 4 years of college in the contemporary training, the contemporary art schools establishment.
Which college?
New World School of the Arts, which is part of the UF, University of Florida.
Cool. Okay.
And then from there, I dropped out. I was really close to graduating, and I decided to go to Florence to study the masters of the past and the classical and the craftsmanship of side of painting.
Okay. Why did you decide to drop out before you finished?
Because I applied to the Angel Academy, and they accepted me in the middle.
That was just better. You thought that was better than spending another year or so?
Yeah, why wait? I always go for whatever comes first. First come, first serve.
First come, first serve.
No, listen. I was about to graduate in April, and this is January. So I get the opportunity to first go to the Angel Academy. Either I could have just avoided that opportunity and wait to graduate, and then the summer maybe comes. But it came first to me, and then I go first to that opportunity that I saw.
Okay.
To advance my career.
Okay, cool. How long did you study there?
At the Angel Academy, I spent a year and a half. I think I'm the fastest one graduating from there. I just worked full-time until I...
What's full-time?
Full-time meaning painting during the day, and then at night getting the key from the school, going inside and working at night too. Wow. Pretty much 16 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep.
Every day?
Every day.
Weekends?
Eating, rather quickly and...
Eating rather quickly?
Yeah. Going back to work.
Oh, wow. And weekends too?
Weekends too, yeah. I had no sense of days.
There's no calendar.
No, not even the sun was guiding me because it was underground, so I didn't even get to see the daylight.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so you were there for a year and a half, and then what did you do after that?
And then after a year and a half, I came back to my family, and they said, "So now what? We put all this money and effort into your studies." And I said, "Give me 2 months to set up a series of work and show it to galleries." So after 2 months, I was already represented in one of the best galleries in Miami, with no CV, nothing to show,
Wow.
just my art.
Was your family in Miami, or are they still in Cuba?
In my family, a lot of my family is in Cuba, but my mom, my dad, and my sister, we all came together to Miami. Yeah, we were there.
So how did you get to that professional level so quickly? How did you set that up with the galleries?
Well, I got out of school with the idea of the still life painting and a little bit of a figure, but I was more used to painting still life. So I decided to do a series of still lives that reflected something different that when I was studying at the Angel Academy. And I thought just that look of the school work plus a little bit of a twist from my side was enough to show some valuable work to the gallery and for the gallery to make money. Remember, galleries are always open for business. And if they see something that they can show to their client and make that connection between the client and the artist, they're happy to do it. So I was able to provide that option. I said, listen, this is my work. Do you want to see what I'm all about? And they said, let's give you a chance. And we started working.
Yeah. Did you go to a bunch of galleries, or did you pick the one that you wanted and then you just went in and you got it?
Yeah, I started from the one I wanted, which was like really, really good at that time for me. They represented Cuban artists. So I felt kind of also connected in that sense. Yeah. And I went for it and I got into it. Yeah, I didn't apply to any other gallery before that.
Nice.
I was lucky in that sense.
Are you still with them?
No, that was only 3 years. After 3 years, I left because I was an exclusive contract. Since I was beginning, they kind of gave me some, I say they kind of controlled me more. But I think that was fair.
Right.
I was willing to sacrifice that freedom for learning this whole thing. So I said, yeah, I'll be with you. But after 3 years, you get offers from other places, and you start wanting to experience the world in a broader sense. Yeah.
Okay, so what age are you at that point when you got into that gallery?
Oh my God, 24. I was 24?
23, 24.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So fill in that gap. What happened since then?
Oh, since then, nothing. I just been so many things.
Nothing, everything.
Yeah, I mean, nothing particular. After that gallery, I started for me, the gallery was, since I already was working with galleries and then I saw galleries attracted to me, I got rid of that worry. How do I get a gallery? So I was just developing my art. I thought that was most important because whatever got me to that first gallery was my quality of the work. So I realized that I always have to be loyal to my development, that I was, just by intuition trusting, even not graduating from college and going to this atelier with like nobody cares about their diploma or anything.
Right.
So I just go for like that. I just go by intuition. And after that, I just kept developing my art and seeing for myself what will be the best form of expression that I can achieve with my character and my, taste and all that.
Okay. And do you start experimenting with what your art represents and like the why?
Yeah,
at this point?
The why was developing at that time. It's still developing, but my why was I thought I found myself a little bit behind in the technology. So every time we had like graphic design or things that had to do with computers, I was kind of not that good. I realized that I was better with my hands and doing things like more from my guts type of thing. I was boxing and I was doing things that felt more connected to, the basics.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, so I want to rescue classical art and bring it back to this generation, which is missing it more and more. They're not spending the time to develop this craft. So if I do it, I will have an advantage when the future comes, and then the time comes that people are missing that. Then I'll be one of the leading figures that rescue that and offer it to my people. I didn't rescue it in order to reproduce it, to mimic it, or to pay, homage to anything in particular or any period. I just said, what if I bring it and adapt it to my surroundings and offer it to my people? And that was my why. So then all my art has developed around that. How do I offer a good quality with good content? that is honest to me and that some people might find attractive too. And some people don't like it, but who cares about those?
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a unique style. Now it's unique because nobody focuses on the classical stuff anymore. Or it means, of course, some people do, but it's very rare. Most people now, when they get into drawing, they go right into digital.
Yeah, and if they do, sometimes they're like, since we are rediscovering these techniques, we get caught up in developing the technique. So every time something comes up, like it's creative or crazy, I think that there's a fear to touch on those things because we have had that for 100 years of just like the crazy aspect of the artist. And we're going back into that discipline and that love for the craftsmanship. And I think I want to do that, but in a way, break from it and show my point of view about it, rather than just representing it as everybody would accept it.
Since then, you haven't studied with anybody?
Yeah, my technique started declining after leaving the school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I started working too much with the concept, and that's the risk of working with ideas, that you then lose a little bit if you don't really have a grasp on technique. It can go away from you quickly.
Okay.
And so I went back to teach in Sweden for a year to get me back into revising what I was doing.
When did you do that?
That was year 2008-09, so a couple of years after graduating.
Okay.
I saw that opportunity, I went there, and that got me back into that center of craftsmanship. Revising craftsmanship.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, craftsmanship.
Just get back into that craftsmanship.
Yeah. I think the best way to learn for me was to go back to the museums and study the masters, because there are not many living artists that were impressive enough for me to say, okay, I'd rather study with you than copy a painting in a museum. And I already had the tools to kind of paint good enough to understand the paintings in the museum. So I decided to jump from that to the museums and go and learn from the real masters myself.
Yeah. Okay. But you told me yesterday you didn't really actually paint at the museum. Can you talk about how you studied from the paintings at the museum?
Yeah, studying from paintings from the masters doesn't mean that you're painting from life for me. Like for me, it's either looking at books can work, reading about them, their biography,
about how they work,
or their habits, or either technical stuff or even lifestyle. I appreciate people that are successful and made it through history, or even so I want to know about them. So learning in the museums means studying it, and the way I do it, since it's so uncomfortable to go and ask for permission and painting in the museum, and the lighting on your canvas is not the same.
Right. All the lighting is on the walls, on the paintings, and then the middle of the room is
you're in the darkness trying to do a copy.
Yeah.
So I decided to get my sketchbook and do copies and compare it really close to the paintings in the museum, and write notes about the things that I saw that were missing or good or whatever. And
so you draw at the museum?
Yeah, I draw at the museum, take a picture, or if they don't let me take an image, I get a catalog with an image. With
or
the image that
online or something?
Yeah, online, whatever. So I get that as a reference, and I write notes that describes the difference between that printed image reproduction and the real painting. And then, so mentally describing those things.
Right.
It's darker here. It's not that high chroma here. Less yellow. And then I will work on those on my sketchbook.
At home.
At home, from memory, but looking at the reference.
Okay.
And then I will go back to the museum when that dries and check it again and write some notes.
You bring your painting. You hold it up right next to the museum.
Yeah.
Take notes. Bring it back home. Fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that basically the sketchbook becomes the bridge between the museum and my studio. Is that link.
So that's why you have so many finished paintings in your sketchbook. Because I was so surprised at what level of detail and how much time you spent on each page in your sketchbook.
Yeah.
And that's just because that's your portable thing. Because whenever I did studies, I never did it in my sketchbook. My sketchbook was a quick way of just like thought explosions.
Yeah. Which I do too. I sometimes do sketches and quicker, but
if ever I wanted to do a study, I would get just a separate piece of paper,
like
or
a more
canvas.
Formal.
Yeah, more formal. Is like, but I feel like your way is a little bit better because you don't treat it as like a thing that you have to.
A precious thing.
Yeah,
right?
It's not precious. You have to. You can play with it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I got used to the sketchbooks. If you see them, they're kind of beat up. They fall. The pages are kind of not that. But the first time that I gave it to someone for them to look at, when I finished one, they were taking it with such a care that I'm like, So that I'm like, oh my God, this is interesting how that is valuable to people. So that hit another note in my career and say, wow, that I didn't notice that, because for me it was just experimenting and a practical.
Well, because it's delicate, and people can tell how much time you put into it. So it's this thing that you could rip if you go too quickly, that you spent days on. Did you study from books at all? Or did you mostly go to museums and study from just looking at paintings? Or were there any instructional books that you felt like helped you a lot?
Well, when I was at the Angel Academy, I was introduced to Van der Poel or Harold Speed, and those are the books that first guided me to technique. So I've read those books, plus a couple more. Even the Charles Bargue is really useful for the beginning. But after a while, I thought it was better to not go too much into theory. I had a lot of that in contemporary training. I wanted to go more practical and how to discover it. So I think graduating from the school was enough information for me to keep advancing on my own. I just had to keep myself, pushing myself and organizing to that, following that, what I was looking for, which is mastering the technique.
Okay, so the books were more when you were at school.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, you focus more on museums and looking at art.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and going to fairs and contemporary shows, and more involved in the whole art world that I wanted to belong to.
So that was when you were
studying
at the academy, and you were just all in. What about today? Well,
today is the same principle of not wasting time on something that is not gonna help me achieve the goals that I set myself. Right? So I wake up in the morning and I have a goal for that day. I say I have to get to this stage in this painting or something, and I just go towards that goal, and that makes me, just keeps me busy in that sense. And if I have something else to do, I spend time sending emails and doing other stuff. And now with my vlogs on my YouTube channel, I'm having less days because I spend one day doing each vlog, and it takes me, a while. I used to have an extra day. Now I have a less of it. But
I mean, it's part of your career. It's part of the marketing side of it, because it's a business. You're running a business.
I'm running a business, but it's part of my why. It's part of the why because it's
how so?
Because the reason that I wanted to learn all this craft and present it to my people is to share it. And YouTube is the best way, because they can hear me talk about it, they can see me do it, and see the paintings. So it's an interaction between my art and the audience. Yeah. And it's not YouTube, or I don't consider those things individual. I just think those things are people looking at the work. Yeah. So that's why I think it's part of my why, because it's part of the feedback. And actually, I believe the best way to become a great artist is to listen and be sensitive to the response from the people. Some artists are just closed and they just want to avoid the world, but it's hard to evolve like that, because in society we each help each other out in evolving. If you're surrounded, if you're just by yourself, you create crazy habits, and that's not a good way to exist. But since we are beings that need to be social. Yeah. The same thing goes with painting. You create something, and if you see a negative feedback, in contemporary schools, they encourage you to do that. If they say they don't like it, do more of it, because it's against...
Just go against everybody?
Against the grain.
How do you go against everybody?
Well, you see the modern museums, they're empty. Nobody goes.
But they're not going against everybody. They're going with what museums are promoting.
Yeah, but that's a 0 point of the population. So they're just doing what the schools train them to do, to be presented in the museums or in that field of like a world, like a small world. But the people are not being influenced by that. You ask random people, and they don't know about Damien Hirst or Jeff Koons. Those are leaders.
Koons?
You can go downstairs to a parking lot, and I'm sure you can ask people about that.
Yeah, but the regular person also won't know.
They will know Shakira. They will know...
Oh, well, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm talking about visual artists. So are you talking about classically trained artists versus the artists that are doing just like modern stuff, abstract stuff?
I'm basically saying that if you compare the Metropolitan Museum with the MoMA, so the Met and the MoMA, there are more people spending time looking at the paintings in the Metropolitan Museum than they are looking at the paintings hanging in the MoMA. Because I've seen it. I go to a lot of museums. And in the contemporary museums, they go to see the names, to be exotic next to the Picasso, Van Gogh. But it's more of an experience. But, well, everything is an experience. But when they go to the Metropolitan, you can see them really appreciating the piece of art. And that's what I meant. Like, it's more, this type of art that we are doing is to connect to the broader audience, to influence culture. Not only influence the wealthy that get to pay $2 million for a piece that nobody saw, nobody cares about. So that's part of my why, and that's why YouTube is a great channel for that, because it allows me to go and see what people really how they react to my art, rather than two curators in a dark corner.
Right. Yeah. When modern art and abstract art, all that stuff started happening, that was different. Now it's not. It's been around for like 100 years, but they're still trying to stay away from what happened before that and sticking with what happened 100 years ago. Like,
they want to be the establishment and the new thing at the same time. They want to be the rebels and you cannot be. You have to pick. You know, so in a way, we are the avant-gardes. You cannot be the avant-gardes and the establishment, and that's what they're playing. They're telling their students, "Oh, be strange," but that is the norm. I'm sorry, we are the strange ones that are saying no to the teachers of these established art schools and saying no. We need to learn how to do stuff to improve our culture, to take our, our generation to a higher level of sensitivity visually or whatever. So. Yeah, you're doing a great job at doing that. I'm a little bit more
doing it.
Well, I'm expressing it in myself, but you're kind of helping
teaching
also people. Yeah, you're helping people achieve that too, which I didn't have when I was growing up.
What do you mean?
That I had to fight for my knowledge. I had to.
Oh yeah, you had to go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else. Spend time doing it.
Leave your life to go to Florence. Florence, right? That's where you.
Yeah, Florence. Yeah. And sometimes people like you get people spoiled because they're in their room too comfortable. Rendering the form, and they don't know. No, which is good, but they need to know that that's not it, That they need to know that that is an aspect of it, and they need to really just spend time doing it and connecting it with themselves.
I always tell people that the videos are like books. It's not a replacement for actual schooling and mentorship. It's like a book where you can get this information quickly, but you still have to train.
Yeah.
Watching the videos it's not going to make you good.
Yeah, and sometimes when I give a workshop, once a year I do it just to change it up. And some people say, I want you to paint because I learn more by looking. And I'm like, no, you paint and I'll tell you what to fix. And then, because the way I learned was by doing it. And I never saw my teachers paint. If they tell me right now that everything was fake and they don't know how to paint, I'll believe it. Because I saw their paintings when done. And telling me what to fix, but I never saw them do it.
Did they ever go and paint on your painting?
Not in my case. Never. They never got my palette and fixed and painted anything.
Really?
They will tell me, get that color and put it there and fix that line. And I'll have to kind of figure it out. And that's the best way to learn it, I think, from the inside out, not from the outside in.
Interesting. Is that because that's the best way to get someone to actually learn it? Or is it because they didn't want their style to influence yours?
I think because they had so many students and it was a practical thing to just tell them how to fix it. And as a byproduct, everybody got to learn more than if they were working and everybody would look.
How many students were in class?
When I was there, the whole school had like 15 students. It was
so it's not
small. No, now it's big. Now they're the Florence Academy is massive and the Angel Academy is just one location, but they still have like 60 or more students.
I mean, with 15 students in the whole school? Mm-hmm. And how much in one class? Like a session?
Just by level. So sometimes maybe you had a whole figure class, like let's say 15. You arrange it around the model.
Yeah.
So you have maybe 4 people working on the bars and then a couple of people more advanced working on the figure.
So the teacher had time to go and actually work on people's stuff. right?
Well, they had a rule, and the rule was 1 critique per day.
Wow.
In the morning, one when it was about Bargs, and one in the afternoon with a figure. That's all you get. So if you go to the bathroom when it was your turn, you missed the critique. I mean, you could probably be like nice and say, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then they'll go back to you. But the idea is, you have one chance. If you miss that day, you don't get it.
How long are the critiques?
Long enough to tell you how behind you were at the project. You know,
Okay.
so it would be like, okay, for this stage, because everything was so systematic, that it was easy to focus on one aspect. So they would say, for this stage, look for these values and that value and make sure you get that. So they didn't talk about anything beyond that. So if you ask them, oh, if I do a still life and I want to put red here, they will say, this is not the moment for that.
Okay.
You got to focus on this. You know, it was very systematic and
Interesting.
direct. I like that because it was such a contrast with my academy.
Yeah.
Everybody, all the students were giving me critique back in
All the
college.
students?
Yeah, the students would be like, oh, I don't like that. What do you
okay,
think?
so at Florence, the students wouldn't critique each other at all?
They would do it, but
you
not like formally. They would probably do it, but in general, I saw everybody being very separate in terms of their work and the people. Like when we would talk to each other, it would be different than fix that and fix this. I never experienced that. It was very formal, very scientific, respectful.
Okay. It's a little different than how, I guess, the ateliers in the United States are now.
Or maybe the time has changed and also things are
changing.
changing.
So you think maybe Angel Academy is like that now?
Yeah, I went back to the Angel Academy and I saw more of a relaxed atmosphere than how I experienced it.
Okay.
People are joking with each other, they're painting, they're playing around. Yeah, I know, I'm like, wow, that's very different from when I was here. It was more like, this is your thing, just do that, don't bother anybody else. Don't talk to anyone.
Yeah, when I was studying at Watts, one of the main selling points of the classes was that the instructor goes to every single student and draws on their pad every class. It's like you're guaranteed for the teacher to come and fix your mistakes.
That's so cool.
But so you think that is cool? So that's good or is it bad?
No, I like that, but I didn't learn like that. But I do that in my workshops. I think that's nice.
So you do it when you teach?
Yeah,
you go and you show them?
When I'm teaching, it has to be in a week. I don't know how that structure was, but if I'm giving a workshop in a week, I cannot just go one day and say, you fix this, good luck, because I don't think they deserve that, you know? They're paying money, they want you to be more active with them. So for my workshops, I explain it first, they try it, if they don't get it, I get their palettes with their own colors and make it happen in an area so they can see it working, and then I go try to mimic that or do that.
Okay. My friend Leon went to the St. Petersburg Academy, the Repin Academy, and he had this very similar experience to you, where the instructor wouldn't draw or paint on your stuff. They would just walk around and tell you what to do. So it's interesting that the really classic academies that have been around for hundreds of years do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, they're creating great work, so maybe there's something to pay attention to in that sense.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, like what is it to that?
Well, we said it before. I think you learn it from within, because the moment someone fixes it for you, or you're looking at someone doing it, you're kind of making sense of it. But painting is an experience that has to come from inside. You have to learn it from inside, not from the. It doesn't have to make sense. It has to make. Like, you have to make a drawing out of it. You know, you have to do it. So the moment they tell you to do it and you try it, you actually experience that, and that is knowledge, that is wisdom. If someone does it and you saw it and be like, oh, I see it, and then you do it in another area, it's not the same as the same area that you had to solve the problem. You know, like, it's a very subtle difference, but it's a major, for me, I think it's a big difference, because you're actually doing it yourself. You make sense out of your own intuition. Like, if the instructor is good, it will teach you. Like, you will learn from a good instructor regardless of the method, because the method of the instructor is its own. So let's say in the Repin Academy, it's very different from the Angel Academy, but maybe the instructors are good in both places, so they create good students. And maybe Watts does a different thing, but he's a good instructor. He knows how to connect that learning point, and maybe he applies it in a way that they learn it. So I don't think it's a one or two, like, it's not a fixed thing, but it definitely has to go from inside. And if the teacher knows how to bring that out from the student, that's the important part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That was like question number 2 out of 50. So when you were studying, did you start painting early on, or did you draw for a long time before you started painting? Like when did those?
Okay, so this is, I'm glad you're asking this because
Okay.
this is important, and I think that's the difference between becoming a student, an academic student, and becoming an artist, making a living and having
The
a
medium. The medium makes that difference.
Wait,
Okay. Okay.
the attitude of how you treat the medium. So let's say when I came into the Angel at the first level, very basic first level bar copy, I did, as soon as I was starting to do that, I tried starting a painting at home using that. And when I told my friends and my teachers, they all laughed. They're not ready. You're not ready. What are you doing? Wait. And I'm like, no. So I had my sketchbook, my paintings outside of school. So whatever I was applying in school, I was applying with different mediums and different stuff also. So you saw yesterday my sketchbook had like different experiments with it.
Yeah.
So I always did that from the beginning. And some students are waiting to become artists by the school. So they do all the process and they don't enjoy it. They don't live it outside of that. Okay. And I think that, so I was painting the whole time, overlapping everything. Imagine before starting my first course at the Angel Academy, I was already doing masterpieces in the other schools, like with a theory and, a concept behind it. So I was kind of made believe that I was supposed to be advanced already. And even though I didn't know how to sharpen a pencil when I entered the Angel Academy, it doesn't matter because that was separate. That was a classroom. That was a classwork. That was just a study. And so I always integrated that with my art. There's no moment that I drew. I mean, I was drawing a lot, but I was painting too.
Okay.
Both at the same time. I was just applying what I learned. I gave what I learned more importance. So the moment I try experimenting with a new knowledge, I apply that knowledge to whatever I was doing first. Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't breaking from it. I was respecting it.
Yeah. So drawing was you learning the craft, and then you took it home and you played and experimented with paint.
With medium, with paint, with oils. Yeah.
Okay.
And
then, I had a similar experience. I think I was painting actually before I was drawing.
That's good.
But then once I got serious and started going to atelier, I was very focused on drawing for a while, and then I went back to painting.
So that big painting that you have of the kid learning how to
chop wood.
chop wood.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Like you started doing that while you were drawing?
Well, that painting was done after I was. I had
already
a lot
years
of training
of
in drawing. Yeah. I mean, when I started painting when I was like 12 with oil paint, like with an easel and like brushes and like the stuff you'd get at an art store, not like
kids.
Yeah, not like stuff you see at an elementary school where they give you stuff. I mean, like real professional supplies at 12, and experimenting with how it actually feels and all that. Before I knew anything, I mean, the paintings were horrible, of course, but I was feeling it.
You already had that vision of...
No vision.
Well, at least you felt like a painter.
The how it feels with your hands. How does a brush feel when you mix paint? It's like learning how to ride a bike when you're a little kid versus when you're like 40. It's a little easier to learn tactile things when you're a little kid.
You just go for it with no fear, no preconceptions. Yeah.
And you pick it up real quick. Like you just figure out how to move physically better, I think, when you're a kid. Yeah. So I was playing around with that, but then learning the actual fundamentals later on with drawing, and then bring it back to painting. So you were doing similar,
definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, I think if you can start, the danger with starting too mechanical is that it might stay like that forever.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to break it. So it's good that you got loosened up before, so you experienced that, and then you got formal after. I think that game is a healthy one. I'm glad I went through all these years of conceptual kind of art school because it got me away from the fear of the tradition and you have to do it this way. So I'm just like having fun with technique instead of being afraid of it.
Right.
Too intimidated by it.
Kind of off topic, but do you remember or do you know that we were both part of 21 Under 31?
You
in
mentioned
Southwest
that. I
Art.
didn't know that. That was cool because after you mentioned it, I looked at the magazine and I saw it. I'm like, that's true. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
I think you got the first place. Then,
yeah,
did you?
yeah, first prize.
You
Yeah.
jerk.
Whoa, I was under 21.
I was on. Oh, you
Oh,
were
no,
under
31.
Yeah,
No.
21 under 31. Right. So they chose 21 artists under the age of 31.
Yeah.
In
I think
I
that
guess was it everyone in the United States or was it global? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I thought it was global. I think they're open for like
Okay.
whoever applied.
Yeah.
It was which magazine was that?
Southwest Art.
Southwest.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think that was 2010 when we were in it. But it was the same month, the same issue. They do it once a year though.
That's interesting.
So,
We're all
yeah, we
connected,
both-
like from early on, like our careers.
Mhm.
Actually, it's a very small world. This world
Yeah.
of realism. So,
Yeah, it's true. It sucks that you beat me.
haha.
I think we gotta start talking about philosophy. I promised in the beginning
How?
of the
What do you mean
video.
philosophy? I didn't
Okay.
study philosophy.
I know you didn't, but you think about it naturally.
Okay.
So what do you think about? Teach me how to philosophize.
Philosophize?
Yeah.
No, you don't care.
I want to. What do you mean? You were talking about how you need to explore different thoughts, different types of thoughts in yourself, and hear other people, other point of views talking.
Yeah.
Like I don't usually talk about that stuff, but you do, so I want to.
So, like what? Like for what?
I don't know,
Do
man.
you have a specific question?
Okay, so on Instagram, there's this one guy. This happened like yesterday. He sent me. He's probably watching right now too. He knows you as well. He sent me a video that he made on YouTube talking about his work and stuff. And in that video, he said something about how he's searching for the ultimate truth. And I'm like, what does that mean? What is the ultimate truth? Like, I'm just trying to make things that look good.
Well, some
And-
people are confused too.
And I just don't understand how to even think that way.
Yeah, well, I understand what you mean. Like, I'm also like, I don't believe in all these ghosty terms like infinite truth or soul of the spirit. Like,
Okay.
no, I don't think you have heard me talk about that. I'm very practical
Right.
in everything I say. I just see it in a very lively manner. Like, let's say, for instance, when someone says, "I'm searching for the ultimate truth with my work,"
Okay.
do they know what they mean? Because that can be broken
Broken.
down
Yeah.
into smaller elements so you can understand what you're looking for.
And
that
that's how
element.
I approach that. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah,
take
like,
me through this. What are you talking
too
about?
advanced for that.
And then
like,
when I try to go down that route, they start talking about stuff that I just don't understand again. Like, what?
well, nobody actually that found any truth. First, the title of the passage, the title of the essay was "Finding the Ultimate Truth." I think that maybe comes after you find it by just reacting to life. Okay, so let's say
Okay.
that guy said, let's say we are in a studio and we're looking for the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth, you know what it is?
What?
Your limitations. And if you're in your studio thinking that you can do something ultimate, but you haven't lived it, you haven't done it, you haven't acquired it, you can't do it. So I believe that to find something, for me, for instance, when I'm in my studio, and as I would interpret that question, like how do I find the ultimate truth, it's pretty much being loyal to who you are. So for instance, I like to copy art. Right? So for me, that's the truth. I had that taste for the masterworks. So
Okay.
I abandoned my contemporary training and went to Florence. Got the techniques, and what do I do then? I copy masters. I like to copy. What comes after that? Well, creativity. I like to put things together. So then I copy some stuff and I put it together. And
Okay.
then from that superficial aspect of it, then I say, well, there's some truth to that because that's what got me here. That's a fact. You know, that
Okay.
I'm actually... I traveled this. Maybe someone else studied ballet dancing. Okay, so that's my truth. And then to get it to the ultimate level is never gonna get there until you die. So like for me, I say, okay, what is it to this syncretism? Let's say my syncretism is my ultimate truth in the sense that
Syncretism.
syncretism. You know what it
You're
means?
synchronizing with something?
No, synchronizing is not the same as syncretism.
What's that?
Syncretism is opposing schools of thought put together kind of by force to
Okay.
create a new result. Right?
Okay. Yeah,
so
yeah.
in religion, Spanish, Catholic got the Africans, pushed them together, rejected their religion. Then the Africans adapted to call their gods with names and aspects from the Catholic Church. So they develop a new Afro-Cuban religion comes out of that. So that is pretty much like what syncretism is. And there's a lot of videos about syncretism. It can get super deep. But so I found myself in the middle of contemporary training, classical training. I want to mix both because that's who I am.
Okay.
And then I try to see how I can have fun with it because it's all about having fun. It's only one life, and I had a great experience beforehand, so I want to keep that going. So then I just paint with quality, having fun, mixing it. So for me, that's my ultimate truth. Combined with my why. Why am I doing this? Well, first, because I need to make something that I'm proud of, and those are things that make me proud of, and that gives me money to keep doing them. So the money, when I receive it, is an endorsement. Keep doing what you're doing because we are appreciating it. We need it as a culture, or we need it as individuals, or whatever. So then that promotes more of me looking for that ultimate truth. So when someone is like that, I need to break it down and say, okay, what are you looking for? Because you're not gonna get it just by feeling it. It's not gonna come out. But I guess that's better than saying I don't even care to find the truth. But the funny thing is that the truth is an individual point of view.
Right.
You know, nobody can say, like, it's like you said yesterday when we said, is there such a thing as cheating in painting? And you said, well, you can only cheat yourself. And I said, well, so if that's the case, then we have nothing to do with it because everybody knows if they're doing it to themselves or not. So all we have to do is observe.
So you agree that you can't? There's no cheating in art, or you don't?
I agree that there is no cheating in art. That's a rule because so what is cheating? Okay, cheating
is your own decision of what cheating is, right? Your ultimate truth.
No.
No,
it's easy. If you're in a classroom,
I thought I had it.
If you are in a classroom and there are a set of rules, and they say to pass the exam, these are the rules. Don't look next to you. Set by the leader. There's a leader, the teacher. And then you break those rules to get a good result. You cheated because you broke what everybody's supposed to be doing, right?
Right.
But in the art world, you are free. You are your own leader.
Yeah, in a classroom, there's rules. If you're working with more than one person, there's rules. But
art is not.
In life, you are.
But the people that claim that someone else is cheated is because they want to call themselves leaders at that moment and say, if you do that, I'm going to disqualify you from my life.
Right.
Which you should welcome. You say, okay, peace.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So in that sense, that's what I believe in terms of art. Now, if you are a victim of not knowing what to do and you say, okay, I'm going to use a tracing paper and trace this thing, and that got me a good result, yes, of course, that's just not even cheating. That's being mediocre. Because you're not even you don't know how to use your tools to draw, you know? But the moment you do it, and it's part of your process, let's say you trace, let's say those big heads that people create, like the hyper-realistic Chuck Close type of paintings, you know, they're gridded or they're traced, and that's part of the system. But it's totally valuable for their own expression. You can like it or not, but in that sense, I wouldn't divide that into like inferior or superior behavior. Yeah,
you wouldn't, but some people would.
But I think that's a mistake if they do it. For them, not for me. For them, they're putting the limitations to themselves.
Okay. So they're cheating themselves by thinking that other people are cheating.
Exactly.
See, now I'm getting into this philosophy.
Damn, they're cheating themselves by thinking that other people are cheating. Boom.
Success. We can move on. I think I've accomplished philosophy.
Nah, like that. You passed the level 101.
Nice.
No. That was cool.
All right, next topic. Yesterday. So you got a tattoo recently.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how
It's not a tattoo, man. It's a piece of art on my arm.
Oh, come on, man. It's like saying that's not a painting.
It's a tattoo, man. I know. I'm playing with you. I was seeing.
I thought you were trying to get all philosophical on me again.
No.
Okay, so you got a tattoo, and we were talking about how the way you appreciate a painting is different than the way you appreciate a tattoo. Mm-hmm. They're like complete opposites.
Yeah, they are. You're painting on top of your skin with the needle. I mean, someone is doing something on top of you with the needle. It's more like an operation. It's more like a alteration of your being.
Yeah, but well, right. So based on that, I would think you would approach them in the opposite way. So I would think a tattoo would be something you would be much more judgmental about and be like, I want, before I get this thing on my being, I want to make sure it's the perfect thing and I approve every part of it. But you think of it the opposite way.
Yeah.
Where you see a $15 tattoo shop. Cool, let's go.
I feel
do
like
it.
getting a tattoo in that moment for some reason, I do. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's valuable if you want to be really picky about your tattoos. Or I mean, you have no tattoos, right?
I don't.
So
no.
for you, it would be like a very special thing to get if you ever
Right.
get one. Like a
It's permanent and
meaningful-
it's stuck on me.
Yeah, but your fingers are permanent. They're stuck on you. You have nothing.
Yeah, but
to
I'm not trying to
change it.
change them intentionally.
Yeah, but so a tattoo is the same idea. Once you get it, it's part of you, and you have nothing to care about it. Like it's just there, you know. But the thing is that it
Wow.
depends on the background. Like I was raised in Cuba, boxing. Then a lot of my background comes from, you know, being like kind of not in a very sophisticated level of being. So I'm surrounded by people with tattoos sometimes, or at least seeing them, and I always thought that was an attractive thing. I always like people with tattoo. But yeah, but for me, a tattoo is more about the experience. So every time I travel to a country, and if the opportunity comes, and I get a memory I get a tattoo, whatever. Sometimes it's meaningful, sometimes it's just superficial. They're all superficial because they're all outside to show. So
Well, they can represent something.
yeah, it represents.
But-
Yeah, but at the end, it represents that you're the tattoo person with tattoos, you know. And I never wanted to be
Oh,
that.
is that really?
No, I never wanted to be like the guy with over there, the guy with tattoos, you know, like because tattoos can be so overwhelming that it can cover who you are as a person. You know, so for me, me and my wife, we love the idea of tattoos, and sometimes we get them. I mean, I'm not planning to like go to record,
Right.
you know, so like playful here and there as long as it's safe.
Right, but then the way you look at art is you look at it more of like a sophisticated thing, like you know.
Because that's forever. Paintings are forever.
Oh, so your
Tattoo-
body's not forever. Is that the way you're looking at it?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
A tattoo is something that is temporary, and people say, "Oh,
Wow,
tattoos are forever." I'm like, no, paintings are forever. Tattoos are not.
Wow,
It's,
that's
what?
deep, dude. Well, because
Isn't it
I
true,
could just burn this if I want. It's gone forever.
Yeah, but you can burn anything.
As far as I'm concerned, what's on my body is forever within my own world.
You're too important.
Well, no, in my yeah. See,
Yeah. For me, no.
But
For
that's
me, I am
interesting,
just
the way you're-
I'm just the messenger. And you say, well, if you're so meticulous when you paint, why are you not the same? You know, have the same standards if you want to get a tattoo. But I don't connect them the same.
Yeah.
I think that tattoos have nothing to do with art, have nothing to do with drawing.
Oh,
And,
okay. So
well, except the one I got here. Like the last one I got that you mentioned,
Right.
that requires a lot of talent and a lot of practice, and that's different in that sense because of the look of it. But the experience is
okay,
the same.
I think you just answered it. So
Yeah.
you don't think of it as a tattoo as a drawing, as a
Yeah, no,
form
I
of-
just see it as a stain on your body. It's more like
That-
a
that-
birthmark
right.
that you wanted to have, but you didn't have, so you just put it on.
Okay, that answers my question. Cool, thanks. All right, so I think we should wrap it up. We're not actually wrapping it up. We're finishing it up.
With a W.
Yeah. So I like to wrap it up with a speed round instead of a rap. Some just really quick answers, right?
All right, let's hit it.
Okay, favorite artist?
Nobody.
Not even me. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna make up one with that. Okay, favorite artist you've studied?
Bouguereau.
Favorite subject to draw or paint?
Portraits.
Favorite book?
The Law of Success. Written in 1925 by Napoleon Hill.
Is there a painting that you've done that's particularly memorable or important to you?
Yes. The one I'm doing next week.
You haven't done it. The question is there a painting you've done?
I've done it in my mind. I had a
Oh, wow. There you go with your philosophy.
No, but it's
Okay,
true.
the one
I'm
you're
never
gonna do
happy
next
with
week.
My last paintings, my past paintings, I really don't like them as much as the one I'm going to do tomorrow.
Okay. So, okay, so let's say out of all the paintings you've sold and you don't have anymore, is there one you wish you could get back?
No.
No?
What do you mean? No.
I don't know, there's something that you're
I
like,
wish
"Oh,
actually
man,
the ones that I have back I would like to sell.
Well, no, keep the money, but you just want to bring it. You just want to have it.
No.
There's no painting that you have?
No, because I spend so much time doing the painting that after I'm finished, I'm done, man. They can go their own way.
What medium do you want to learn?
Medium?
Medium. Digital, sculpting.
Oil painting.
You've already learned that.
Not as much as I
you
would like
have.
to learn it.
One that you have never even tried before.
Tattooing.
Ooh, okay. You've never tattooed anybody?
I did. Oh,
But you want to
something that I
learn.
can
You want to get good.
Yeah,
at it.
yeah, but I just did it like for the first time.
Oh, cool. Did you do
But
it
I
on a
don't
person?
want to.
Did you do it on a person for your
Yeah.
first time?
Yeah.
Oh man,
He asked me to
that's
do
how
it.
you just go. Right, how? Do
He
you
asked
have a
me to do
picture of it?
He's a friend of mine. Oh, I don't have a picture of it here.
I
No.
want to see it. What was it of?
It was a cast painting. One of my casts in my sketchbooks.
Uh huh.
Yeah, plain. It's probably not that
Planes.
good. Yeah, I know. Different grades.
You say that you weren't comfortable with planes, and now you're in form, and now you're all like
I'm not
tattooing it on something. Did you tell them you're not comfortable with forms before you tattooed it on
No,
something?
but that's something I already drew. Like I had a drawing in my
Yeah.
sketchbook, and they asked me to do it. But
Okay, gotcha.
I'm saying tattoo just to play around. But I haven't thought of any other medium other than oil painting. But yeah, I don't know.
You could even say like piano.
Piano. Wow.
You could go
It could.
philosophize
I thought
with
you
me.
were saying something like drawing.
Hey man, it's just a question.
Medium. Okay, so medium can
You
be piano.
limited yourself with that question.
I
didn't
know.
limit you.
I didn't know piano was a medium.
It's an art form.
Yes.
Music is an art form. Piano is a medium.
No, I would love to. I play
Oh,
a
so
little
piano? You're just taking my answer?
I play a little piano, but you tell me like if I tried it, it doesn't count anymore.
I was just trying to get an answer out of you. Okay. Okay. What question do you hope I ask you?
If I'm good,
Okay. Are you good?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. That was the end of the speed round. What are you working on now?
You see, I was like this for the speed. Now I'm like this for
All right. Now you're relaxing.
yeah.
All right. So what are you working on now? What can people expect to see in the future?
So in April, I'm gonna have a solo show in Los Angeles, and it will
Cool.
be at the Maxwell Alexander Gallery.
Okay.
And I'm preparing a nice show for that, and it's about syncretism, developing that
Ah.
idea. So
Wow. Where do you see your art going the next 10 years?
10 years.
10 years, man.
Oh man, I have no idea. Honestly, I don't think about that. I think about like just my next project, small, short terms, because
Yeah.
every time I try to do that, I'm always like off. You know?
You don't actually get
Yeah. Nobody can
I'm
do
the
it.
same
Like
way.
yeah, you just go like that. Life is like you keep following and it keeps
Yeah.
changing. Yeah. But one thing about the syncretism thing is that I say it because I kind of like to play around with the ism that is no more part of the art scene. Like there is
Okay.
just like no more isms anywhere. So I did it as a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek kind of play with it.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's what's thinking. I've seen you post stuff where it's like abstract art mixed with like really classical art, and it's in the same painting.
yeah, because since abstract art developed against classical painting,
Yeah, I've seen
I'm
those.
reporting of what I'm doing in our days, like put them together.
Okay. So you just recently started exploring that?
No.
No?
All my life.
Awesome. Well, that's it. That's
Dude.
all the questions I got. Thank you so much.
Pleasure,
Tell
man.
them where they could find you and your work.
Again, I'm Cesar Santos, and you can find me on YouTube. Cesar Santos is my channel. Instagram, Cesar Santos again. And my website is santoscesar.com. Check it out.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.
A pleasure, man.
Watching me
This
learn
was
how to
fun.
philosophize. All right.
I'm not a philosopher.
Neither am I. All right. See you guys.
Should I wrap this video up? I'm here with Proco,
No.
talking about art. He might look a little stiff, but he's actually really smart. I don't know, whatever came up.
Is that a compliment?